Hello! Welcome to another episode of Middle-Aged Madness with me, Suzi. I do hope you're well. It's a new year now. I've been a little bit AWOL recently, just because December is crazy busy for me. There are 5 immediate family birthdays, not to mention Christmas. And then the new year, everything just gets taken up with resetting the house, taking decorations down, getting people back to work and nursery, things like that. So I do apologise, but I'm back now, so a very warm welcome. So today is a day off for me. I work 4 days, but it's not really a day off, is it? No. I have a 4-year-old, he's 4 now. I have a 4-year-old to look after. And there are all those jobs that you just never seem to be able to fit into your normal life. So a load of washing, hanging things up, sorting out some new clothes that I've bought, and then the old clothes need to go to charity. There's an awful lot to do. So I have this day where it's supposed to give me time with my son and also time to catch up on things. But I do find it really hard to get going. You know, when you feel so overwhelmed with everything in life and you just think, oh, I just want to step off the roundabout just for a few weeks, just to get myself back together. But you can't, can you? There's so much life admin just going on all the time. But I'm feeling slightly accomplished today because I have managed to hang out one load of washing and put another load in the washing machine. Go me! This is the stuff that dreams are made of, right? So my husband does a lot of the laundry, but he went out to work, so I thought I would hang it out because I wanted to use the washing machine, so it kind of forced my hand. I hung it out and I put it next to our dehumidifier. I don't know if you've got a dehumidifier. I'm slightly mystified by them. By that, I mean I've had one dehumidifier and I have lots of rooms that get condensation on the windows. So do I keep having to move the dehumidifier around? At the moment it's on the landing and it's next to the washing that I want to dry, but it's on the landing. So is it trying to suck all the moisture out of the air in the landing, the hallway, and also any rooms where the doors are open? I'm just not quite sure. Exactly how best to use it. And that's probably the most middle-aged problem I've ever considered in my life. But there you go. So I've got this dehumidifier that I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, but I jumped on that bandwagon just in an attempt to prevent me from having to go around and wipe down all of the windows when there's condensation, which kind of hasn't really worked yet. So there you go. Anyway, enough about dehumidifiers. So recently, new year, new start, all of that, I have started studying again. And those of you who know and love me will know that I love studying. Well, not when I'm in the thick of it. When I'm in the thick of it, I'm just looking for the end. But after a year or two, I start to think, oh, I'd quite like to study again. So I finished in 2021, I finished a postgraduate diploma, which was a mandatory qualification for work. So that's fine. So I finished that and that was all good. But then, it's not even 2 years later and already I'm getting a little bit itchy. So there were a couple of choices. I could have tried to find the money and applied for an educational doctorate to start in September. Mum, don't roll your eyes. I'm just following my mum's footsteps. She's got a PhD, so. But I decided against that in the end. I just thought it would be too time heavy, too consuming, and maybe that's something for a little bit later in life. And I thought about gaining an additional qualification. So rather than just getting a kind of spurious educational doctorate that is not really going to progress me any further in my current career, which is teaching, I thought, well, what else am I really interested in? And I will be absolutely truthful with you. And some of you who knew me at secondary school may well be a little bit shocked or surprised, but I decided that actually I would like to try accounting. So I think along with 90% of all secondary school pupils, I couldn't wait to finish maths at GCSE. But the older I get, the more I think, oh, I should have done A-level maths. And of course I didn't, because I was thinking, oh, university's going to be so great, I'm going to do dance, it's going to be amazing. And I wasn't really thinking about a career. So, I mean, I think that's true for an awful lot of secondary school pupils doing GCSE and thinking about A-levels in university. I think it's common that perhaps you're thinking for the moment, you're not really thinking about the future. So anyway, so I've started an accountancy qualification, and I know amongst my circle of friends that I'm not the only one who likes a little bit of study later in life. I've got a cousin who is currently almost finished, keep going, she's almost finished her master's in nursing, some kind of discipline I won't pretend to necessarily understand, but she's almost there, so that's really great. And it just got me thinking that making choices when you're so young, because let's face it, 15, 16, it is young. It's young to be making decisions that are going to impact on the rest of your life. Here I am, 25 years later, thinking, oh, I should have done this. I mean, I know lots of things look better with the benefit of hindsight, but I just find it really interesting that we expect young children, and they are children and they are young, 15, 16-year-olds, to make these choices about their futures. And it almost seems like you should make a decision and then at, say, the age of 30 or 35, you should get the chance to choose again. Do you know what I mean? So you should get the chance to, right, we're going to give you another 2 years of free study. What would you choose if you were going to do it differently? And if you didn't want to take that up because you were happy in whatever you were doing, that's fine. But I just kind of wish that was a thing. Anyway, I'm enjoying the learning, but I'd be interested to know if any of you are also studying at the moment and what you're studying, and if there's a why, if it's just for fun or if it's for your existing career or for perhaps a career change. I'd be interested to know. So also on the new year, new start thing, this month, every day in the month of January, I am doing 1 minute of hula hooping with a weighted hula hoop. If you haven't seen weighted hula hoops, you're probably thinking, oh, hula hoop, and they're those really thin, really light plastic ones that you get at school, and everyone just used to kind of fling them around and you could spin them, and that was kind of the fun that you had with hula hoops at school. But a weighted hula hoop, so mine came, I think maybe they all do, I'm not sure. Mine came in sections. You have to kind of click it together. But basically, it's quite a heavy hula hoop. And because it's quite heavy, they have to pad it because otherwise you're going to end up bruising yourself as you're flinging it around your waist or wherever. So it's this quite chunky thing. It's at least as thick as my wrist, maybe my forearm, I don't know, but it's quite chunky and it's quite heavy, and it's actually quite hard. Please let me know if you are really good at hula hooping with a weighted hoop. I would love some tips, because while I have slightly improved in the 14 days since I started, 2 weeks I've been doing it, there is a slight improvement, definitely, and I've been videoing every day's effort so I can see the improvement. But if you have any tips, because at the moment my best effort is probably round my waist for 2 or maybe 3 seconds. And I just get the feeling that there's something that I'm missing. And I'm not quite sure what that is. I'll have a little internet search, but if you do have any tips for hooping for a longer duration with a weighted hula hoop, please let me know. All suggestions gratefully received, and I will try them all. So yes, but I'm trying to do this. So again, it's that kind of learning thing, and I think it's definitely true. When you go through school and university, after that you just think, most people, you just think, I don't want to study ever again. Oh, so glad to be out of that. Unless you're one of those few. I have a friend who went straight away into doing a PhD, but there you go. But then it kind of comes back, doesn't it? Leave it for a little while. And I'm not just talking about studying for like a big kind of exam or qualification, but I'm just saying learning anything. After a few years of just being a little bit kind of apathetic, you start to think, I'd like to learn how to juggle or learn how to chop vegetables properly with a knife, those kinds of things. And I think it definitely is cyclical. It does come back and you have that kind of desire. And I wonder if that's like an innate human thing, that if you don't learn, or in the past, if you didn't learn and didn't adapt, then it's natural selection, isn't it? If you don't learn the new techniques, you're going to fall behind, get eaten by wolves, those kinds of things. So yes, so I'm trying this hula hooping, and I'm pleased that I've definitely made some progress. Like I said, you may have been following me on Instagram. I've been posting, putting up details of how I'm progressing, things like that. And I think tomorrow's halfway, so I might do a little improvement video to show people how I'm getting on compared to the first video. But I'm trying to get into a good habit of doing it every day, even for 1 minute. I think that's 1 minute of exercise that I wouldn't necessarily have done. Because while I do like some forms of exercise, like dance, that's probably my favourite, it's really hard to fit it in life and to have the energy. I have anemia, so still just trying to figure that out. But I don't help myself. That's absolutely true. I don't go to sleep at a good time. And I'm not quite sure why that is. I think it's almost like, I've been at work and then I've been dealing with my child and now it's 8:30, so I'm going to have 2 hours of watching TV or knitting or doing some more of my accountancy course. And then before you know it, it's 10:30 and then 11 o'clock. And then you think I should have gone to sleep or tried to sleep at 10 o'clock because you feel tired. But there's something about it. You just feel like you need to have an evening before ready to go to bed. So I definitely don't help myself. But I am trying to get into some better habits this year. And yes, I have missed 2 days, but I went to a bounce class on Tuesday. If you haven't been to a bounce class, it's like little circular mini trampettes almost. And you do a whole class jumping up and down on a trampette. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. And yes, it is trying on your pelvic floor. So that will hopefully improve. But I did go on Tuesday and I took my son and he was very sweet. He had his own little trampette and he jumped for almost the whole class, which was fantastic. So I did go to bounce on Tuesday, so I feel like maybe I earned 2 days of not doing my 1 minute hula hoop. I will try not to get into that habit. I have booked again to go to bounce next week. But I did come back from bounce and then do my 1 minute of hula hooping. But I'm trying to exercise every day. Now, you might be one of these natural people who just exercises anyway and you love it and you go running all the time and you go and do like 5-mile runs and things. That's not me. It's definitely not me, and especially now when I'm so tired and I have a small child, and I just find that really hard. Maybe later in life I might find it a little bit easier, but when you're in that middle age section and you have young children and a home to take care of and a job to go to, and you have all of this stuff on top of you, it takes somebody, I think, who before all of that was into regular exercise. You then find it a bit easier to continue, but to start, oh my goodness. The only motivation that I have had is that I have joined something called the Rebel Badge Club, which is merit badges but for adults. So think kind of Girl Guides, but not Girl Guides. And January's badge is exercise every day in January. So that is what I am trying to do. And I'm also putting it towards my fitness badge. And in case you're wondering, you do actually get actual badges, if you want to, that you can buy, and then you can sew them onto something. Some people sew them onto camp blankets, some people sew them onto hoodies and things like that. But yeah, so that's my motivation. My motivation was, well, I do want to get more fit and I want to get more into it, but also I've got the added satisfaction at the end of the month of having this badge. And I know, yes, I missed 2 days of hula hooping, but I'm going to count the walking that I did in those days as my exercise, because otherwise I will just cry if halfway through the month I've already failed. So I will leave you there and say thank you so much for joining me for another podcast. And I promise that I'm going to be back up with my schedule now. So there will hopefully be one every week or two. And please do come along and join the Facebook group. We're Middle Aged Madness. And I'm also over on Instagram, middleagedmadness.podcast. And you can follow my hula hooping adventures and anything else that comes to mind. So with that, thank you, and I will see you next time. Bye.